There we go. Got to make sure the recording's going. Awesome. Welcome everyone to our second PR webinar. We are starting on time, 6:30, 6:31. Thank you so much for coming. I'm very excited to be doing this year and to have our second one coming up, second one today. The theme today is how to gain virtual visitors, and I'm going to share a lot of on-screen. So you'll have me off to the side, and you can take screen captures if you want to, but I want to assure you this will all be recorded. This is going to go on our District 26 Toastmasters webpage for public relations. You just got to give me a little bit of time. These Zoom recordings have to get converted to YouTube and then put back on the website. So that takes a little time, and I'm actually on vacay in a beautiful cabin this weekend with a friend. I'm going to be working on my second book and just needing a little break, and so I won't get to the recording aspect until probably Tuesday because we come back late Monday. So just be patient. I know you want to share it with everyone, and I'm super excited that you want to do that, but just be patient with me, please. Thank you everyone for coming, and make sure that you're muted. If you want to speak, open up your mic, etc. We don't want to have a lot of loud background noises, but please keep your cameras on if you can. If you don't want to, or you're in your bathrobe or whatever, that's fine. I totally understand. All right, so today we're going to be talking about how to gain the virtual visitors, and I'm going to share with you some things, and then we'll have a moment for questions. If something comes up in the chat, I'm going to recruit Kevin again, since he was my chat person. If you don't mind, give me a thumbs up. If everyone has any questions, Kevin will help me out and say, hey, we had something we need pressing information. So Kevin was really great at that, and I'm gonna rope him back in. All right, I am going to start sharing, and hopefully everything works out. If for some reason the screen isn't showing or we're having wonderful Zoom issues, please go ahead and Kevin can unmute and let me know. We don't need everyone letting me know because it gets a little loud. So first I want to share with you, this is the page where the videos will be at, our public relations page. You will scroll down here and you will see some of the other ones I've done before. And then this one is our first one in this year, the PR webinar, Where to Start as a VP PR. And the next one will be below that. If for some reason we end up moving these, we're working on having a video library. It could move to the video library, which will be under resources and video library. But as far as I know, we're going to be able to house these all on the public relations page. So this is where it will be at. I also will be sending all of you an email with these links, so you don't have to scramble to write them down. I want you to focus and watch the screen and pay attention and be able to ask questions. So one of the first things that I want to share with you outside of this page, and we will get to Nextdoor, all of these tabs. One person had mentioned that, and then it started to streamline. Everyone wanted to hear about Nextdoor. So we will talk about that tonight. But before you get to Nextdoor and before you get to Facebook and get to these places where you're going to share some things, you need to have the document first. And the document online when you're doing things is actually one of these flyers is what I would highly suggest. So this is on the Toastmasters.org page. Like I said, I will give you this link. It's under the online meetings area, and there are actually two flyers that you can use. There's Virtual Vitality, which I like. It's kind of cute. It shows the Zoom. It's right up there. And then it has the basic information that you can fill out. So what I suggest for you to do is to enter your club name in here, whatever that is. Your meeting URL will be your meeting Zoom or WebEx or etc., what you're willing to share out there. Now, hopefully you have a password, and I do highly suggest when we're meeting online that you do have a password. Yeah, we're not having as much Zoom bombing, but let's not tempt fate, right? We don't want to be having a meeting and then somebody pops in and they're doing something that we don't want them to do. So have the meeting URL here, but down here in this email me for more details, that can be either you as the VPPR or that can be the president. If you use free Toast host, there's actually an area called club email addresses, and I don't have that link up, but I can grab that if you need to. We can talk about that. And it'll say president, VPPR. And what happens in the free Toast host is once that changes, it automatically goes to whoever that person is connected to. So that's a little bit better than having like your email out there. Like I wouldn't want mine, Trixie@gmail. I don't want that out there. So I give them the VPPR address and then they can contact us. Some presidents want to be the one who's notified and give the password. Sometimes it's the sergeant at arms. That's part of your PR team, which we talked a little bit about last week. So if that's only you, talk to your executive committee, your, the club president, et cetera, when you have your monthly meetings and say, hey, I want to put this flyer together. What are we going to put in here? If you want to own that, great. If you want to ask your team, oh, I don't want to get all the emails for passwords, find out who that is. Put the date of your meeting, more so as it's the third Wednesday of each month, or it's every Wednesday. If you only meet once a month, put what that is, not the actual, it's 10/10. Unless you're gonna post this every single week, then you're gonna have to keep changing that date. So it's better to have more like a day, it's the third Thursday, and what your time is. We meet, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30, whatever, and input that information. So this is one of them, and then you can save this as a PDF, you can save it as a JPEG. To share this on social media, you will need to save this or convert it to a JPEG, or another format is called PNG, which is just a higher quality. So if you ever see that, take the PNG because that's a much better quality on people's phones. So again, this is one of them. The second one, let me get over to there, is this one, which is you are virtually invited. It has more of the blue club color scheme, which I like, but I found out that in Toastmasters this year, there isn't a difference anymore. You can use the maroon, you can use any 4 of the colors they give you, which is in the brand guidelines. So make sure you're looking at that you're using those colors. This is just nice because to me, it feels like club, right? And that's because I've been a Toastmaster for a few years. So I think club, blue, okay. But it doesn't matter, whichever one you use. It has very similar information. It's just formatted differently. Your club name, meeting URL, which again is like your Zoom, date/day, third Thursday, what time and who to email. And then you save this and then you can post one of these. So this is one place to start. So first decide which one you're gonna use, or you can do what's called an A/B testing and try out maybe every other week, or the first 2 weeks, try out the virtual vitality one. And then the last 2 weeks or the next month, try out the blue one and see if maybe you get different hits from different links from which one. Then that'll help you know, oh, people really like this visually. I got more responses. You can utilize that. What I like about this is that it has the pictures right there, right around. It feels a little more cozy and warm, and we're really looking for that connection. The other one is really cute, but it has the computer screen off to the side in the pictures. And to me, I feel like, again, that more coziness. I feel like I'm connecting with people, and I feel like I'm connecting with the club. Even though this isn't people in our club, these are the branded stock photos, still it just seems more personal to me. So these are 2 that you want to start with. You can, like I said, create the information and then you save it as a PDF. If you want to save it as a screen capture, you can make it smaller and then do your screen captures, boom, whatever that is, or save that as a JPEG, and then you have that information.
Hey, Trixie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I got a question on the URL. You say put our Zoom information there and then put this on social media. It seems like that's a big risk.
Well, that's
because
why
our Zoom information usually has our password embedded in it.
No, not if the password, there's an ending on it that does say PWD, take that part off. So that's a
Okay.
good point. Thank you for bringing that up, because we actually created a district webpage for the clubs with online presence. And when I was putting them on there, I didn't realize that until people said, oh, wait, I thought this wasn't going to have our passwords on there. And I thought I didn't have the passwords on there, but it was at the tail end of that. So make sure that on the Zoom, where when you're looking at that whole line of text where it says PWD, remove that, because that is the password. So thank you for bringing that up, Kevin. I did forget to mention that. So you don't want to have that.
So then when they click on that, where do they get the password? Do you give it to them later?
So that's in the, I'll bring this back up. See where it says email me for more details? That's where they're getting. So you could say to get the password or for password information, please email this. Thank you for bringing that up, because that is something content-wise I did forget to say, that you do want to say in this email me for more details, please contact me for password or something in that verbiage, whatever works for you. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do say something in that frame of mind.
Yeah,
and then that's where they will contact you.
Thanks.
Sure, thank you. Any other questions on that while we're here? Okay, we look good. All right, so one of the other things, thank you, Kevin. One of the other things that you can utilize if you email people is this brand new VPPR online meeting template. And this is in the resources, which is on the Toastmasters page. You can download it or click on the template, and I'm going to take you right to it. It is right here, and I'm going to move my screen over a bit, make it a bit smaller again. So this is, oh wait, this one's not the right one. This is the online meeting tips. Hold on. See, I knew something would go wacko. All right, hold please. Template. I always forget which one to push to go right to it. Nope, it was download. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, now I'll bring it up. Okay, question, because sometimes when you open these, it doesn't show. So are you all able to see the actual template? You're not. Okay, so hold on. The craziness of Zoom. Stop that. Come back. Where did it go? There we go. Okay, Kevin, are we good now? Can we see it? Okay. So this is the email template that you can use. It, of course, is, you know, a document. You can bring it into Google Docs, whichever, and it gives you an idea of what you can start to write to someone. So this part, of course, you would take out once you're ready to start the subject line, etc. If you're using this, or you could just copy it. So here would be your subject line, etc. This is an idea. Local residents can become better speaker leaders through, and I'm going to use my club, Eloquent Entrepreneurs Toastmasters online meetings. Your email copy would say, you know, dear sir or madam, or dear Kevin, you know, if you know your friend, you're sending it to them, you could send it to them. I hope this email finds you, blah, blah, blah. You can read all that. It just gives you a little bit of copy, because a lot of times people say, well, I want to send it to my friends, or I want to send it to my boss, or I want to send it to the media, but I don't really know what to say. Toastmasters is taking care of this for you. It's right here. You can enter your information. It'll have your, you know, your name, if you're VPPR, or whoever that contact information is. Again, that may or may not be the VPPR. That could be the president, the sergeant at arms, whoever wants to be contacted. So don't think that just because you're VPPR, you have to put your information, but you're going to want to have somebody there to take accountability. Who is that? Is it the email? Is it a phone? How do you want people to contact you? Will you share this information with your audience? And I love that it says that, not just the media, because who knows what the audience is. Like I said, you could change that to say, will you please share this with your area? Will you please share this with your group? Maybe you're sending this to the Women of Denver, or maybe you're sending this to your BNI group. So you can alter that, but at least it starts you off with the copy. And I love that they're talking here about, you know, the unprecedented time. Yeah, most of us are at home and we've seen a lot of this, but we don't have to come up with that verbiage. It's right here for us. And I really like that. Now in here where it says insert link to online meeting, this is just like what Kevin and I were talking about before. You want to have the Zoom information, but don't give them the password. So you might add in here, the one thing that they don't say is that information about contact this person for the password. Yes, you do have it up here, your contact information, but I would suggest in here adding that verbiage in that second line again. This is the link only, or this is a link for registration only, if it's for a registration that they have to do. Some people have that set up where they have to register. So make sure that you also say, please contact us, or please use the contact information up above to obtain the password. So that isn't in this letter, so make sure you say that. Kevin?
Hi, Trixie. Yeah, we got a question. What is the Toastmaster International form number for this online meeting template?
It is, let me see if I can get to that. Don't think it has a form number right here. Let me look real quick. Yeah, it doesn't have the form number. Like I said, I will be giving this to you guys. If you look, oh, you're not on that screen. Let me grab it real quick. It is, I hate trying to find the chat. Hold on. I'll put it in here for you guys. There's the email template. Usually they do have a form number, but this one doesn't. Not all of them are having forms anymore. Okay, just wanted to make sure I saw a quick thing in there. So let me go back. Hopefully I got the right one. Okay. So you would enter your club name, and then this says, please email for the meeting access code and password. Again, it has the membership, but it doesn't have to be membership. It doesn't have to be a VPPR. So if you encounter any of these documents, it's not set in stone unless it says it's set in stone. It has to be this. This is just a guide, and especially if it's in parens, it's saying, well, this is who we would think normally would gather this information. But because of this year, and I've talked to so many other people, not just VPPRs, it's not always the VPPR. In another club, the sergeant at arms is the one who wants to receive the information. They want the email. They want to be in charge of it. Another club that I'm in, the secretary does it. Okay, whoever wants to be that person, that's where you would put it. So it does not have to be membership just because it says membership. And again, your name and club contact information. And then I think that's the end of it, right? And so sincerely, you know, if it is you, you know, VPPR of this club and your email and how they can contact you. So I'm going to stop sharing that for a second and just take a breather break. Does anyone have any questions on what we've talked about so far? Looking, I see everyone's okay. Good.
It's a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
You know, the owner of the password, or who gets contacted about the password, could be because of who is managing the Zoom account.
Exactly. So
whoever was brilliant enough to get it, or nice enough.
Right. Right. And another reason why you don't want the password out there is not just for the Zoom bombing, but some people were not able to purchase a Zoom with club funds and they sponsored it. So it might be their Zoom, their personal Zoom, or their business Zoom. And they don't want all of that information out there each time. They want to be able to control that. And like I said, that also may not even be an officer. That could be somebody else who just happened to sponsor it. So you need to find out who wants to do that, who wants to have that, who wants to be contacted. Sometimes when we were first starting in one of my other clubs, I was in charge of it, but I actually wasn't in charge of the Zoom, but they wanted me to receive the information to filter out because I'm the Zoom support for District 26. So I said, okay, that makes sense. But after a while, they got sick of the second round emails. Oh, someone came to me and then I would have to forward to them and then they'd have to get back to them. And what would happen is the person would email me again. So I said, okay, maybe you just need to take over this. So that's one of the things there. Awesome. Thank you for that comment. All right, let me get my screen back ready. We don't need to see that anymore. I want to make sure I'm going back to the right spot. Okay. All right, let's go back to the website. Okay, so this was the email template we were just looking at. And this is another aspect that you can look at for clubs, online meeting tips for club officers. And for some reason, I can't see everyone's chat. Whoops, I don't want it in there, but I can see Kevin. So Kevin, I'm gonna send this to you, and then if you can help me repopulate that to everyone, it's not allowing me to see everyone. So if you want it right now, this is where you find this online meetings tips for club officers. So it's talking about what you need to have these meetings. So I don't want to go through each of these because I think we're all adults and we're able to read by ourselves and I want to maximize our time. But you just need to look at some of the basics on what you're going to need for online, what you're going to need for the agenda, etc. And some of these things you may already be doing, and that's great. You're like, check, 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 check. I'm good. I'm doing all these things. Some of them, even in some of my clubs where we thought we were all set and doing everything, we're like, oh, wait, we didn't have that happen. Like, it's recommended to have the Toastmaster today be a member who's comfortable online and has a webcam. Well, you would hope that that happens, but some people actually call in on their phone. Well, that doesn't mean they can't be Toastmaster, but that does create a little difficulty sometimes if that person doesn't have a webcam on their phone or is only coming through the mobile. So think about those things.
Yeah.
We've learned that. So officers, blah, 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 talks about filling the roles, etc. And this is the other thing I wanted to share in this is I find, especially if you have a 1 hour meeting, people feel like they have to like fly through that agenda and they don't talk about these things, the current events, check on the well-being of your members. How do you do that in 1 hour? Well, you don't. Just like I hopped on a little bit early, I highly suggest this. Now, it's just a suggestion. Hop on a little early or take time a little bit towards the end. So for Eloquent Entrepreneurs, we stay 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after. And if people want to stay a little longer and socialize, then we can do that. Because you want to be on time and have your meeting and follow the agenda and all that's great, and I believe in that, but when you have the time to connect, and especially now that we're in October and we've been doing this for how long, we're like, we need connection, and that's an opportunity that you can have that connection.
Right.
So I just wanted to mention that because I don't think everyone always thinks of that. And then some different things like prior to the meeting, you might want to send the meeting agenda. I've been on a meeting where it's not prior, it's just the link is there, it's the same link every time and you hop on and they show the agenda. Well, that's okay, but what if you're having other issues? You know, I want to make sure that I have it. I don't necessarily need to have a paper copy, but I'd like to be able to go to a different screen and see that. And include the online meeting link in the agenda. On Free Toast, we have that on the top of the page where you can change the theme. So that's a place. I don't know everything. I'm not as versed as Easy Speak, but I believe you can put that in the top at Easy Speak because one of my Wednesday afternoon clubs, they do have information up there. So there must be a way to do that. Just don't ask me how. So those were just a couple of things I wanted to remind people. And this is one of the things I just mentioned, like log on 15 minutes early to test your audio and sound. And suggestion, this isn't just for the people in the meeting or the officers. if you're going to be a guest at another online meeting, I highly suggest if you can hop online, check online as well, because you may be asked table topics and you want to make sure your lighting is okay and can people hear you and are they able to hear you. So it's highly important in all the online things. Yes, Kevin?
Hey, Trixie, there's some questions going on in the chat about, do you have any tips for hybrid meetings where you have some people that are in Zoom and some people who are right there present?
So I wish that I had more time to be able to do just a hybrid, but the reason why I'm not is that I have a high hunch and suspicion that we will be hearing from Toastmasters headquarters very soon about that. So yes, there's a few things, and I'm going to touch on a couple of quick and dirty, as I put it. If you were in my first one, I'll tell you. If not, the second one, listening to me is like getting information out of a fire hose, so I'm sorry. I give a lot to you. But let me tell you the quick and dirty. Definitely have more than one laptop or camera. We just had one in Deming Toastmasters, which I'm in Wednesday nights, and they had a phone facing the speaker. They had a laptop facing the audience, and then they had one right here next to where the microphone was, so they can actually look and see the people that were online. The one suggestion more I had for them was, you have audio now because they got speakers for the room, but all of the participants were not able to see the people online, only if you were right here and you were looking at that laptop.
Oh, okay.
In another meeting, they have a whiteboard, and they have, this was before COVID, I was a part of a hybrid online meeting anyway, and they had a screen when they didn't have the whiteboard to project onto, which then everyone sitting here could look up and see the online people.
Yeah.
The speaker was in the back, and they could turn the speaker up when someone online was speaking, so you could hear what the online was saying. So either a projector screen or a whiteboard or white thing, white wall, trying to think what the word is, that is great. So everyone actually feels like they're a part of the meeting. So having one just toward the speaker is okay. It's better than nothing, but you really want to have multiple. So multiple cameras, however you do that, phones, iPads, computers, speakers, possible projector, if you can do that. And the one quick and dirty caveat that I would say to the online situation is, in the hybrid club that I was in, we had two speakers, two microphones. So one was a lapel mic that went like right here, and it was called a Hey mic. They actually sold it at Toastmasters convention in Denver, and I think you can get it online now. And it's really great because then it can connect to your phone, your laptop, and the people online can hear you. But what if you have a bigger room and you want to be louder for the bigger room? Well, then you need a second microphone, which confuses people because they're like, wait, which mic am I talking to? So it takes a little bit of work to figure out, well, this mic, the room can't hear me. Well, it's okay. The room is not going to hear you. That mic, either the standing speaker or the lapel mic, is for the online person. And how you hear the online people are the speakers. So that makes sense, quick and dirty version. So stay tuned, because I do believe that we will be seeing from Toastmasters a video, or it's going to be in the magazine, the information coming out very soon. And I believe it, you know, it's going to happen. And we're at the point where we were hoping to be back in and we wouldn't need that. That's not going to happen. So, you know, we're going to actually have that information. So stay tuned. And if we need to move some stuff around or talk more about it, we can talk more about it in another webinar, or I could have a special webinar. But let's give Toastmasters headquarters a chance to do that. And I do believe that we're going to see that soon. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Good, good, good. All right. Anything else? Okay, transfer table topics. Yes, I do like the table topics. I want to just say real quick, the Deming meeting last night, the table topics person was online. They were asking people in the room, And the people in the room, the only unfortunateness is that they were waiting until the question actually got called before coming up to the microphone. So my suggestion was, once their name is called, if the person is in the room, have them start walking up to the front of the room. So then once that question is fully produced, I'm trying to think of my words, then you're ready to answer, right? Because that's what happens in real life. Like, hey, Nancy, would you come up and do table topics? You don't sit there and wait and then go, oh, okay, I'm gonna run up to the front, right? You go up to the front, they ask you the question. So don't change that mentality just because the people are online and part of you is hybrid. Make sure that you're still doing that. And then you can still give a chance to the online people. That's a unique way of doing it that I had not seen yet. Do a little bit in person and a little bit online. And that was only their second hybrid meeting, and they had a couple of past District 23, which was that district, past directors, and they were like, wow, this is the second one. You guys are doing a pretty good job. So I was pretty impressed. All right. Now I want to go back here. Let's go back. We're at 7 o'clock, so I want to maximize our time here. Now, a few people asked about, where do I find this information for online meetings? Where did you get a lot of that? Well, right here. Resources, news and announcements, online meetings. Yeah, it has these tabs here that you can go and get more information about, but also if you go past that, it has online meeting tips for club officers, software comparison, because you're gonna need to think about that. There's the prospect flyer and the member flyer that I showed you. Timer Zoom backgrounds. And by the way, I'm super excited to hear, I just found out yesterday that Toastmasters is going to be putting out a new timer background, and I got to see it yesterday. It was so cool. It's like your box that you have, some of you have. I can't do virtual backgrounds, my computer won't let me, but the box behind you, but then right here, it's a stoplight, and it goes red, yellow, green, and it actually has the words and everything. So stay tuned, it's coming out soon. I'm so excited. Digital ribbons, Facebook camera frame, which I don't even know if you know people have this, but if you're on Facebook and you want to have your Toastmaster frame, you can have that in different backgrounds. So all of that is right here, even online speech contest. And this is in the news, announcements, and meetings. And again, I'm going to shoot this over to Kevin because for some reason I cannot chat to, oh wait, there, I think I can do everyone now. Everyone in the meeting. I think I got it now, Kevin. There we go. Just took me a minute. I have to go to you and then I have to pick everyone. All right, now, you asked me about Nextdoor. Now, I hope the people who asked me about Nextdoor are on this call, and if not, you'll watch it later. Nextdoor is a great social media for your local area. So the way you have to think about Nextdoor is, I live here, well, I'm at the cabin, but technically Greenwood Village, and I want to tell people in my area, right here in this little radius surrounding near me, about my meetings. Well, the great thing is that because we're online, yes, we can open that up to other people, but you can also do this for your local area, because the benefit is, you're thinking, well, why does it matter? Well, when we go to a hybrid or when we go back to in-person, we do want the people in our area because they're more likely to come to our clubs. They're more likely to come to the hybrid or in-person meeting when we go back to that. So I like to, as the PR, think about your local area and then extend, not extend and then think in. Does that make sense? Think close to home, because that's who you would market to in PR anyway. If you meet out in Lakewood, Colorado for Excelsior, well, you are going to market it to that area first because they're more likely to come to a Saturday meeting in the Lakewood area versus the other. So with this, you can put your events online. And you can add an event here, and this is where, and I didn't do the JPEG right now, I was trying to do the screen capture, but where you would actually enter the information, you could choose your neighbors. Now what's cool is Nextdoor recently opened up, because of our current situation, this nearby. So you can see mine says Greenwood Village and nearby. So now that's the here, and then the spread, right?
Oh, wow.
So Greenwood Village and more is Greenwood Village, and then Walnut Hills and the little ones that are still near me. But Greenwood Village and more plus nearby is here, the ones near me, and then the ones out here, which is really nice because now you're still in your state, your area, etc., and you're doing more of that marketing. So you'd fill that information in and then choose your category. That would be meetings, etc. If you're going to have an open house, it's not the open house that you would think. These are more open houses like for real estate. So I wouldn't suggest doing open house. I've heard somebody try it, but they didn't really get a lot of feedback because people were like, what's this? I don't see any houses. What's this real estate? It's like, no. That's not the same open house as we call it. So I would still choose meetings. And then let me go to below your event title and description. And as you go forward, then it'll give you all the information. Now, it's not important for me to put this link in there. I'll put the nextdoor.com in the email I'm going to send you. But if I sent you this, it would go to your Nextdoor, so it's no different. And you need to sign up for Nextdoor to be able to do that. Kevin, I've seen the chat go off. Is there a question?
Not that I can't answer.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much for helping. I appreciate it. Now, this is the next tab within Nextdoor that I want to share with you. So let me move the people box over so I can go to that side. So Nextdoor has a thing called groups. You can create a group for your club or even for your district. So I had one of these before a couple of years ago. It didn't go off like Flynn like we hoped it to be. Didn't really have anybody on it. So the last PR closed it, and I said, well, it's fine. We don't want to have it, but I want to try it again. So what I did is I just created this to show you what it looks like once it's created. This is the branded logo. It's unfortunately the best I can do. I'm working with branding about what do you do in a situation where it cuts off the logo, because that's not really branding allowed. So we're trying to work through some of the other items to make sure it's not cutting things off, but at least it's not cutting off Toastmaster International. You can invite your local friends, people. You can invite by a link, so you can send it to people in an email. You can invite by email, or you can, just share it on Facebook and other places. So in here now I've shown welcome to the group. This is for anyone interested in Toastmasters and what it is about within this district. That's the first thing that I've put up there. What I plan to do on the PR side is to put more information about things that are happening within the area, etc. And because I have that Greenwood Village and more area, and our prime area is Colorado, I'm just testing this out in my small little neighborhood plus the extended area to see if we get any bites this time. You can put the event link, which we were looking at over here, in the group as well and say, hey, here's where the event information is. Here's when the meetings are. And I want to do this for our district. I want to post our online clubs and where they can find more information, because this is a great way. People are sitting at home and your neighbor literally right next door to you could be like, man, I really want to do something. This would be a great time to build my speaking skills, but I don't know where to go. Oh, then they happen to go on Nextdoor and they see this group or they see the event. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know Nancy Nextdoor has this event. I didn't even know she was in Toastmasters. And so that's a great little bonding way that you can connect again. And remember, that's what we're losing. So we really want to do that connection. I find Nextdoor to be a great opportunity for that. And in District 26, what turned me on to Nextdoor, was that one of the gals, Sarah Beasley, I think it was 2 years ago, completely launched a club, had 30 members. I think she even had over 30 members within 30 days. And what did she use? Nextdoor. And I was like, get out of town. You did not. That was amazing to me that in 30 days, I think it was even a little less, Sarah Beasley got everything out there, put up the branding, invited people. And yes, this was when we were an in-person club, but I find that to be even harder. I mean, you're telling all these people to come and leave their homes, and she did it. And I thought, wow, okay, I'm on Nextdoor just for my neighborhood and friends, but I didn't even know you could use it in this way. So
Well,
it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions on that? We good? Okay.
thanks.
So one
Okay.
of the other, was there a question? No, we're okay. We're good. One of the other things I want to show you that many people I find don't know this, that we have a Toastmasters International Members Group on Facebook. Anyone can be a member. You have to sign on and, you know, join, etc. You can't just hop on. And then they'll allow you in. I think it's been a while since I've looked at the questions, but I think it's just generic questions. You know, who are you? Do you have your club information, etc. General stuff. What's great about this is also a great way to gain virtual visitors. So now I'm going to move my people box over again so I can see over there. And I'll show you a little bit below. So here's one. Join Foothills Community Toastmasters for a 5-year charter anniversary. Well, this is an event that they're having, and they're inviting anyone. Hey, everyone come. Why are they taking the time to invite everyone? Because everyone can be a member right now. Everyone can join your club. There is no reason why they can't. They have the same dues, the $45 that they have to pay. The only caveat that I have found is if there's a money exchange that isn't equal. And some people are opting out of club dues if they're online, or saying, well, you're from the Netherlands or you're from Switzerland, you know, let's not worry about it, or you're, you know, wherever, and your money might be different. Some people are doing it just straight across the board. I know one club that is still collecting club dues. They have someone from London, and she said, well, I really want to pay. I want to still pay club dues. And she said, what are your club dues rate? And they said, well, it's the $10. And the gal says, okay, well, why don't I just do 10 pounds? And I thought, okay, well, if you guys are okay with that. So I don't know fully the back end of how that happened, but that was what was decided. And I thought, that's okay. That's maybe one way of doing it, though you're not actually getting the full amount of club dues. But majorly, I hear people say, we want you as a member. We're not concerned about club dues, because the club dues are more for building rental, needing to have the banner, those type of things, right? Well, you're online. Do you really need all that? Do you want members in your club, or you want to worry about club dues? Well, that's, again, a decision you need to have with the executive committee and talk about, are we going to open that up? One of my clubs that they asked me to be VPPR in, again, because they lost their VPPR, they said, well, we want to open this up, and we know you're really great, but we don't want international members yet because we haven't figured out how to handle that. I've tried to talk to them about it, but they're not comfortable with having international members. Having international guests, no problem, but some clubs are just not comfortable with it. So be respectful of that. You know, you can explain why, but it might just be something that you have to bring to the other members. And you'll do that at the beginning when you're doing your business meeting part. Hey, we talked about this. What does the club think? Everyone vote on it. You can have a silent voting like a Google form, or everyone could raise their hand. Yeah, we think it's great. Let's have international members. And then you discuss that. So that's an opportunity. Kevin?
So one thing I see a problem with that is, say you're online and you have international members, and then you go to an in-person club after that. Then what do? They can't join online anymore.
So the aspect with that I brought to the club and a couple of the other clubs that I've heard of is, most people are not going to, I'm not going to speak for all clubs, but most clubs are probably not going to go online, boom, person. They're going to go online, hybrid, in person, right? So I feel, and this is just the humble opinion of Trixie, if you're very forthright with that person that possibly wants to be a member, you say to them, we don't know, because nobody knows what's going to happen with this online world that we're in. We'd love to have you as a member, with the understanding that we may struggle a bit through hybrid and we may go to in-person, and that you would possibly not be able to attend. If you're okay still being a part of our club with that knowledge, we'd love to have you. And that's where the London member ended up coming from, is because they were like, yeah, we just want to be a part of something in Colorado. I used to have family there.
That's
So
great.
I think that's personally the way to handle it. Again, nobody has ever said that to me. That's what I just think. If you're very open and very forthright, that's just me. You'll learn the more you come to these webinars that that's very much who I am, being very forthright. If you want to just not deal with that, just stay in your local area. That could be something that you just say, we're always going to be online, or we're always going to just have the local people, because when we go off of online, we don't want to have that issue. Again, talking to the executive committee, bringing it to the members, make sure everyone votes about that. Okay, so this is the international group. If you're on Facebook, you can be a part of. The other one I did want to share with you just to bring up is, oops. Let me get there, which I do want to show you this one too. This is the PR webinar, but I want to take you, hopefully you are aware of what this PR webinar is being served by District 26. We do also have a District 26 Facebook page. And in this, let me go to the groups. We have a space called the members group, District 26 members group. On the page, everything when you're talking for the district, let's say that you are the PRM, that has to be from the district. That's not about the, oh, we're having this open house and this and that. That's for the clubs to put on their information. Of course, for PR, I want to hear if somebody got an award or somebody got a promotion. And that's something that then we can utilize on our blog or in our newsletter blast or other things that we can promote that. But if you want to share your club, maybe talk to your district if they don't have a members group, saying, hey, I heard about a members group. We would really like to have that, because then in the members group, that's where the members can share what's going on in their clubs or share what's going on with their personal items. Maybe you're having an online YouTube event or an Eventbrite online event, and you want to share that with your other Toastmasters. This is a great opportunity to do that. You can share one thing that you're writing about, that you're doing. Joe went to 90 Toastmasters meetings in 90 days. So he shared in the members group. He's a member, so he can share in that group. Now, of course, it still needs to be Toastmaster related. It has to have some connection to Toastmaster, right? It's not just, come join my event. Okay, well, what? How is this connected to Toastmasters? So Toastmasters helped me to be a better speaker. I'm putting on this event because it was my high performance leadership, or I learned by doing an HPL and I want to share and I want to grow this. So make sure that if you are posting in these members groups that you still stick with the brand, that it has a connection to Toastmasters. Somehow you want to connect that. But this is a great opportunity that you can also gain virtual visitors. Why would you do that in your own district? Well, you want people in your district, and not everyone who's in this group actually is a member. Maybe they were and they're not anymore. Maybe they're thinking about being a member, so they want to see what other members groups are in. So I do allow other people to be in this group who are not necessarily a member. I do ask them the question, what is their club? But if they don't have that, this is a great opportunity. Even if they were all Toastmasters and your PRM says, no, I just want this to be Toastmasters, we're all sitting at home, we're all online, and we now have an opportunity to get more speeches done. You could be in 2 paths. You could work through one path faster if you're in multiple clubs. Dual memberships are a great opportunity for you to bring more people in as a dual member, and for that person to have the club space that they need. They might be even in a large online club that is 30 to 60 people and never get an opportunity to speak. So utilize that international members group and the members group in your district if you have one, hopefully like in District 26. If not, like I said, talk to your PRM and say, hey, is this something that we can maybe explore that we could have? Because this is a great opportunity. There's other places online and tons of other groups where you can share, but it really depends on what you're looking to do. And I talked about this in my first one, how to do the VPPR, where to get started. One of the things you have to think about is your club culture. So if you, like Eloquent Entrepreneurs is an entrepreneur group, right? Then, and I can't spell it, you might be interested in entrepreneur groups. And then you could look, oh, here's, you know, this entrepreneur network or other things, right? If you're interested in networking, I'm going here because I happen to be the owner of this. Well, I do a networking event, but this is also networking for other people who might be interested. So you can find these type of groups and join them, and you can also post those virtual vitality and the online club flyers as an image, JPEG or PNG, on social media. And you can invite people. If you have a Facebook page, you can invite them by joining these groups and sharing. So one of the things that here I'm talking about are virtual networking that's coming up. It helps to gain attraction, gain reach, and for people to see it. And by the way, Miss Nancy is one of our speakers to our upcoming one. So this is a great opportunity to share that. Here's some information about a club that's doing spooky speeches. So there's a lot of opportunity. The one thing, and I'm going to close out and go to just me, that I want to focus on is that make sure if you're joining a group for the purpose of sharing, look at the rules, because groups, especially now, are very concise about their rules. No promotions except for on Friday, no spamming, no sharing from other groups. Okay, well, that means you can still share, but you can't share it from that group or share from that page, but you can copy that link and share directly. So if they allow that, you can do that, but please make sure that you're following their rules, because remember that we honor our core values and we want to respect those other groups as well. We want to make sure that we don't leave a bad taste in their mouth about Toastmasters. We want them to look at Toastmasters as a positive thing. We don't want to be like, good grief, that person always posts about Toastmasters and they're not supposed to be sharing. Boom, you're booted out, and now they're talking negatively about you. You don't want that, right? You want it positive. So check the rules. And if you get a slap on the hand, maybe you missed it in a rule or they updated it, don't argue with them about it, okay? And just follow those rules. If you feel like you can't, and sometimes I'm in a lot of groups, I forget, oh darn, I wasn't supposed to promote in that one, and they don't, you know, want to talk to me anymore. It's okay, just quietly leave. There's so many other groups online that you don't have to be just in that one. Facebook has groups. I didn't share LinkedIn tonight, but LinkedIn has groups. They're a little bit different. They're a little bit more on the professional side than you would. Facebook has a lot more opportunity. But those are some tips, tricks, things you can do for how to gain virtual visitors. And I'm sure there's way more other ideas, but these are what I think is a great place to start with. Start with getting an online flyer, and you don't have to use the member flyer or the virtual vitality. You can create your own. If you do, please look at the brand portal. Please make sure that you're following the guidelines, whether you're the VPPR or otherwise, you're in the club, and we all agree to following those brand guidelines, especially if we're VPPR, because we say that we will protect the brand. So if you do create your own flyer, you know, make sure that it's following the right color schemes, that it's following the fonts, etc., and that you're, you know, following those guidelines if you don't want to use those flyers. But flyers, that's a great way to start. The email template will give you some copy, give you some ideas, and you can take some of that information and utilize that on Facebook and LinkedIn and other places. And then a few of the other tips that I shared. I have all of your emails, and I'm compiling an email. I have it partially in draft with all of the links that we talked about today. So I will be sending that out to you. I more than likely will be able to get to that this weekend and at least send the email out to you. But like I said, the video will be up on that public relations page probably by Tuesday. So we've got a few minutes. I want to open the floor for thoughts, comments, questions, anything that someone might have that you want to discuss. Any questions?
Just a tip that we have violated and been held to task. No, if you're putting out a flyer, an online flyer, don't forget to put what time zone you're in. And,
I know.
and even just MDT, if somebody from abroad is looking at it. So it's really good to put it as UTC or GMT or whatever the current accepted standard is, so that everyone around the world knows what time you're meeting.
Right, exactly. Right. Thank you, Beth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Not that we did it wrong, but.
And Anastasia did put this in my, what do I want to call it? My evaluation, which you guys will all get that information as well. We'd like to get an evaluation from you. And she said it again in the chat. And I want to remind everyone about the GDPR rules. That is why we had a lot of those things happen a year or so ago, is because we are open internationally and we do have to follow those GDPR rules. So make sure that yourself and the other groups that you're abiding by those rules. If you don't know what they are, I would Google it, look it up, look on Toastmasters. There is information out there. So thanks for reminding me about that, Anastasia. Yes, Mark Sinclair.
Yes, hi Trixie. This has been very helpful, so thank you. I do wonder if you have any of these things or any comments on how to adapt some of these resources for a closed corporate club, where you've got a limited pool of potential members.
So the closed corporate club, that email template is a great opportunity that I have found other people say they used for the closed corporate club, because they can email or use the messenger within the corporation, so they can let other people in the corporation know. So I would look at that email template. That's something that has been a hard situation. And that honestly is the only thing that I've heard of from other VPPRs, that they've utilized that, they've shared it within their email. One club said they weren't allowed to share emails like that. I don't remember what the corporation was. It was a bank corporation, and they're not allowed to send emails to other people if it's not business related. So that's kind of okay, I don't really know how to tackle that, except for saying maybe there has to be someone, an admin, that you could bring it to and say, hey, it is related to business because this would help that person grow as a project manager. This would help that person level up in their business, in their work and what they do. And if you can talk to that person and maybe send them your flyer or your email and have them send it out, that would be the only workaround that I could see for that. But I'm hoping that we hear from Toastmasters about how do corporate clubs or closed clubs handle that, because you can't put it out there. You know, you can't put it on Facebook. You've got to stay within that. But if you have SharePoint and you're allowed to share on SharePoint, or you have a messenger app or something similar, maybe you could utilize it in that way. I don't know if your company or your closed group has that. Is it a corporate group or a closed group? Because those are technically different.
It's a corporate group where fortunately they do really support it. They pay all the dues for us. It's just, I can send emails to people if they've shown any interest.
Okay.
I probably couldn't blanket 1,000 people all at once. Not sure we'd want to, but
do they have an online message board?
I would have to look at whether we still use SharePoint or like that. That's contained within the company, but broader than the current Toastmasters group.
Right, because when you meet in person, the way to handle that is like a TV message board or something like that. But when it's online, again, the only way that I could think that would work is if you had an online message board or an online front page for like the people who worked there. So maybe that would be a way that you could get around it. Usually talking to the admin is the best place to go. So I would say there has to be an admin or somebody who's in charge of that or who would know. So maybe see about online message boards and that. I will do some more research and try to get back to you. Let me put in the chat real quick my email, so most of you I think have it, but just in case you didn't notice that was the email where it was connecting you to, it's PRM1819D26 at d26@leaders.org. And that is because I was PRM back in 1819 and I retained that email. Since we're not doing new year emails, I'm retaining that. So you can email me there. Mark, definitely email me, remind me about this, and let me do some digging and see if there's more I can find out. And if any of the rest of you are on the call tonight, or if you're watching this later and you have a similar question about the corporate closed clubs, email me so I can email you all back and get any information that I can for you. Okay?
Hey, Trixie.
Great.
Yes. Who was that?
Another
Stephanie, there you are.
Another idea for him is if the corporation or closed club has a newsletter, a company newsletter. Roadmasters is an open club, but we meet at the Department of Transportation, and there's a newsletter that's put out. So
Okay.
and that will be an opportunity for us when we get that, and there's a PR person at Department of Transportation. We give her the stuff, she puts it together, she'll put it out in this newsletter. So there's my, and like you said, or to contact if the admin puts out a weekly email, ask the admin to put it in the weekly email, because those admins love putting in stuff like that. Seriously, if you hang around those administrators, whether it's government or private industry, whatever industry you're in,
Right.
they love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Thank you for that. There you go, Mark. There's another suggestion for you. All right, we are at 7:31, which is 1 minute past what I had hoped. I have tried very hard to be on time and end on time. And my district director, who's also online, she actually is the one who taught me that because she's very cognizant about that. So I want to make sure that I give you guys back your time. If you need to stay around, ask any questions, etc., I'm going to be stopping the recording at this time, but I will keep it open for a few minutes longer. I just want to make sure everyone knows we're actually closing the meeting. So if you need to go, you can go. I really appreciate the opportunity to meet with you and do these webinars. And please email me if you have other suggestions. The schedule is not set in stone. It's just ideas, suggestions that I've heard so far. So if I hear enough, like people wanted to hear about next door, I thought, well, this is a great opportunity to slide that in. So if you tell me what you're looking for and I don't have it in the list, definitely email me and I can slide it into another area, or I can create a separate meeting. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. I really appreciate you for coming.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Trixie. Really good stuff.
In Lakewood. I have a Nextdoor account for my neighborhood in Thornton. How do I post it specifically to the people down in Golden? Do I need to find somebody in the club that lives down there and has an account there?
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And if I cringed when you mentioned Nextdoor, the one up here is so incredibly negative. You put anything up there and it's like, can't do that. So I'm like, Nextdoor,
A
ew.
lot of them are.
Yes, they're not all like that, but yes, you need to find someone in that area and give them all the information, give them the flyers, etc., give them the copy, and then have them do it. And the best thing is, if you want to make sure it's done, ask them to do a screen capture and show you where it's at and what they did. You can see when they did it, etc. And the only reason why I say that is because Mandy is not in my area, but I do a lot of posting for her because she has clients in my area for her cooking, because she does on-the-go jars and chef stuff. So she sends me her flyer and then I post it in my neighborhood and I screen capture it and then email it back to her so she knows it's out there, it's on there. And then if someone says, oh, Trixie posted this, oh yeah, okay, it was on Nextdoor and she knows why.
Yeah,
So that's a way to handle that.